Get ready for a major remodel, fellas. We're back in hardware mode.
Hey guys, welcome to the Iron Idiots podcast. I am Danny Curry, CTK Creations.
Hey, you can probably do the intro better than me. Go ahead, you can finish it out. Go ahead, introduce.
My
the topic.
name is
Kiera
Creations.
It would be funny if you just took that audio I did, but you dubbed my voice over yours, so it just is confusing.
Hey guys.
Yeah, it just doesn't line up at all. It's like a bad Japanese dub.
It's like that one TikTok we did at WonderCon last year where the audio like glitched out.
Oh no! Yeah.
I'm Emily the engineer. I'm Kiera.
And I'm Kiera's workshop.
No, wait, I said something else because I couldn't remember the name. What did I say?
Kiera the Creations.
Kiera the
Creations.
Yeah, Kiera the Creations. Like, I still have a lot of those drafts from WonderCon on TikTok.
Me too.
They bring me joy.
Yeah, I was going through all those videos earlier this week of just like getting all nostalgic. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for the chaos again. There's so many little moments I forgot about. The Kite.
Hey, you know what we should do after this?
Meow, meow.
We should all stay on voice chat and buy our hotels.
Yeah, we should.
Yes.
Do
I
I
second
have to
that.
see if the block's open yet. It wasn't open as of
It's
this past
February.
week. I know, but it still wasn't open as of last weekend. Like the webpage for hotels still says 2022.
I don't know who you need to call, Danny, but you need to call them and get this figured
Okay.
out.
I mean,
I don't pay you
book,
for this.
Shut up.
For this bull.
What, you gonna turn my power off again, Frank? Huh? You gonna turn my power off again?
You will have no
we should
new
definitely buy
suits.
Disney tickets after this, though. That's.
That was the best. That was the
That is
best
big brain.
online beef in a
You
while.
know, just the back and forth all day.
No, I tell you what was interesting online beef. Oh my gosh, the cat's gonna kill me. I tell you what was interesting online beef. Was when you and Kenneth started going at each other about each other's suits. I was like, y'all were saying some things. I was like, are they? This is.
I thought it was
we
real.
literally-
Me and Kiera
talked
were
about
like,
it.
I was so scared. I was like, why are my friends fighting?
We talked about it. We were like, okay, I already did this with Walsh, so no one's gonna think this one's real if they already know I'm traveling. So I'm like, we got to go for the throat on each other's stuff. Like,
Yeah,
like,
you
can,
did.
You can say
You were
stuff
like-
that's real. Like I literally
like
texted
what a
him, I was
loser!
like,
The cod piece is wider than the chest. I was like, oh no.
Oh my god.
I literally texted him because I don't remember what the first thing he said was. The first thing was like it was very tame, and I literally DM'd him. I was like, "Go for the faceplate." I was like, "I know it's rough. Go for the faceplate."
Go for the jugular.
And he was like, "I wasn't sure if it'd be to me," and I was like, "No, it needs to be real."
Real.
It was so
For
funny
real.
getting off the plane, landing in Ohio. I had so many DMs. I had people I knew personally that sent me like long paragraphs about like being the better man and being the bigger person. Like, oh,
Really?
it's not worth
my God.
arguing
Dude.
back about that. People are gonna be mean online and stuff like that. And then it was the funniest thing because it happened this time and the last time when I saw Walsh. The amount of people that I could read the message, like the preview of the messages, or they were in message requests, so I could read them without them being read, like talking crap on like Walsh or Kenneth, and then the second I post the selfie, I got like 5 notifications of messages being unsent.
Message deleted.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I'll get those on on YouTube sometimes. I'll get an email or I'll get a notification that somebody commented something, but I'll go into the app and it's just gone because they said something mean or whatever. And I have feelings too, so it's fun. It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always a fun little bit of chaos. I don't know if I'm gonna do that again though, because this last one, I think way too many people thought it was real.
It looked real. It was like me and
It looked
Kiera
real.
were
It looked-
like, they're
I
just
texted
goofing, right?
Emily and I'm like, is there beef? Like for real?
We were confused. Like,
it was so
and we
bad
know
too,
you pretty well.
because it was like I had the gap of my flight, and then Kenneth was still working, so there was one period of like 2 to 3 hours after some of the posts went up that nothing else got posted, because basically the idea was like with each post it would get more and more ridiculous, so you would realize it's fake, but there was like this 3-hour gap where nothing got posted, and I think that gap is when everyone saw everything and thought it was real. Because like with Nick, when I went out, it was like things got posted way more rapidly. It was like one story back and forth, and then I was like at his house or at his apartment, you know. So it was very obvious really quick. But with Kenneth, the timing didn't work out. I remember I literally landed and I was like, Kenneth, you need to post something else to like step it up or something so people don't think this is real. I'm getting too many messages. But yes,
Oh boy.
we love social media drama and beef when it's fake. When it's fake,
When
it's
it's
fun.
fake.
when
it's real, then-
when it's real, you just kind of sit back and you're like, wow, we are adults in Iron Man suits arguing about childish things.
I stay away as far away from that stuff as I possibly can. I do not like conflict at all.
The most conflict that we get into with each other is just like killing each other on the Minecraft server.
Yeah, no, I don't play these.
Yeah.
All these people be playing these games on social media, like trying to pick fights and stuff, and you're like, I've never met you before, and you try to start a fight with me. What you? What? No.
Children, are we talking about our jobs or social media drama? Because this can go two different ways.
That's fair.
I don't know.
We
could left turn this and just
we'll
stay on that.
We'll take a left turn. We'll save that for another time. There's always
Okay.
We can't be like, I hate drama, and then be like, okay, this episode.
But the drama. Yeah. Okay, but if that's not all of us though, like, I mean, is that not everyone? Like, I don't want to be a part of it, but I will
not.
gladly observe.
Oh, I'll watch it. It's amazing.
I'll watch.
It's great to watch. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Just wanted to try to rein back in a little.
Yeah, I know you're good. I was about to say. But anyway, yeah. On that
Hi.
note, so for today, we were actually going to try and have a real topic of discussion. The last few episodes, we've kind of just hung out and chatted, and it's been a fun little dose of chaos. But I figured since
This one's not going to be fun, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
this one's going to be.
not. This is
one's
going to be
gonna
very
suck.
boring.
This is gonna be serious.
Frank
Unsubscribe.
already told me this is going to be a 1-hour pitch to join the Air Force, so buckle in, kiddos. But yeah, no, I thought it might be fun to kind of talk about some of the stuff outside of what's on our social media content. Just some of the stuff we've done in the past, whether it's been fun projects, cool stuff we've done at work, stuff like that. So yeah, just a little different. Give a better idea of the stuff we did before making Iron Man suits or alongside making Iron Man suits. But yeah, on that note, Frank, start recruiting.
Hi, I'm Frank, and I'm unemployed. No, I'm not going first.
I figured you wanted to do the pitch. I mean, I guess I can go first since I'm the one that decided on the topic, and it would be
The
me
pitch?
to
Okay.
throw it at anybody else.
Here's the quick pitch. Here's did you do okay in high school? Did you just make it by? Are you on the football team but you didn't get a scholarship? Well, I have a job for you. Join the military. They give you free stuff, and you might not get shot at.
And you might get to live somewhere else for a while. Dubs.
Dubs.
Yeah.
That's what Frank said when he had the pitch thrown at him. Dubs.
Dubs.
Where do I sign up?
Sign me up. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the experience. I'll talk you out of it, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I'll go first.
It's like it's your channel.
I've posted. Shut up, Frank. I posted a few stories on it, but not a whole lot. Because I don't know why I honestly don't talk about it more. It is a pretty cool thing. So I studied industrial design. So I've kind of had a variety of jobs. This past summer I got to have a very interesting experience working for a startup company. I'm not going to say the name, but
I'm still waiting for the Reddit post.
Dude, I didn't need to say the Reddit post. Their stock as of a week ago has dropped 99.7% since I left the company. So, Dubs, I don't need a Reddit post. He buried his company
Dubs.
himself, bro. Yeah, I kept thinking about it. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, by education, I guess, I'm an industrial designer. I started with engineering, though. But basically everything I do is still related to printing, whether it's making Iron Man suits or other stuff, For those who followed me for a while, I had a startup back in 2019 into 2020, doing like printing services and stuff. We did a lot of face shields for COVID. All very exciting, very cool stuff. Obviously, it's not a thing anymore now. But I am still 3D printing for work. my most recent job, I started working for a company called Relativity, and I 3D print rockets now. I actually have a bunch of metal prints I've gotten from work, and it's really stupid. I think I literally am handling anywhere from like $100,000 to $250,000 worth of 3D prints and metal a day, and like $1 million worth a week. But the most excited thing that I've ever seen come off one of the printers is this little metal benchy.
But
I got
that's what's
so
important.
audibly excited when I saw these on a build plate. I wasn't supposed to get one of these initially. It was just supposed to be for the engineers, but one of the engineers, because I'm a technician, they saw how excited I got over it. So they ended up giving me one. So I got one out of this is Inconel. It's a very dense, heavy metal, and then this a very poo-looking one is actually copper, but it's oxidized. I gotta polish it. I've never had to deal with polishing actual metal before. Just fake metal stuff to look shinier. But yeah, so that's definitely been a really cool thing for me. FDM is very different and way less scary than metal printing, just because of how expensive and or toxic metal printing is. Come on, Frank's camera. There it is.
Metal. It's cool stuff.
But so it's definitely cool. I went from I think the most expensive printer I ever worked with before this was probably
Stratasys, right?
Yeah, it was one of the cheap Stratasys machines though. At most, I think it was like $20,000. When it was new, it would have been $20,000.
It's pretty cheap for a Stratasys.
But I don't remember if it was Stratasys or Genie Systems. It was one of the big ones. But yeah, I went from that to the cheapest machine that I think we have at work, which is literally the same build volume as like an Ender 3. It's a little smaller than that because it's a circular plate. That thing's like $300,000.
What does it print?
And our biggest one, which is it's used to make like really big components, is like $3 million, I think, somewhere around there. And that build volume is still it's basically double the size of a 5 Plus, more or less. So it's double the height, but same overall build dimensions roughly. And yeah, wow. So it's horrifying. At any given time you have like $250,000 worth of powder or something in one of these machines. So if something goes wrong, it's like it's literally a year's salary or something. Like when we have a bad print failure, it's like, my $25 of filament, it's ruined. But now it's like, yeah, if I mess up a print at work, it's very scary because it's very expensive.
Well, but that's the thing with cost though, and what you're like the overhead and the value that you're making off of that print is also kind of obscene, or the value of it itself. Like it's to say, I've clicked order on $1 million parts before for jet engines in the military, but like
Air Force to Iron Man, bro.
Right? But it is expensive, and the material cost. But like if the print messes up, but the order placed probably could cover the value of it. Could cover 2 or 3 of them usually. I mean, I don't know what their pricing and budget is, but usually account for that.
That's the thing is, it's weird being on the manufacturing side of that stuff now. Like instead of being on the ordering side, where you're like, oh, I ordered this $1 million part. Like I'm now responsible for printing the $1 million part.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the $1 million printer.
Yeah, with the three. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it goes up
for
quick.
Reference, okay, spool filament 1 kilogram. The most powder that our big printer can hold is over 1,000 kilograms of powder at one given time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
It's
so
freaking huge. It's the size of like a semi truck trailer.
Is it the machine? Is it the I've seen a couple different types of metal printers. Is it where the powder is laid and smoothed up top, and the laser welds it, and then it powders again and welds it, and it actually lowers, or how does it yours work?
I can only say so much, but something I learned very quickly. So PBF, powder bed fusion, is the general term for everything.
Danny, do you want to tell people what ITAR is? Because guys probably have it, right?
Yeah, we got it, and that's why I've kind of like bit my tongue so far like twice when I almost said something. I'm like, I don't know if I can feel that. ITAR is basically just like the rules and regulations of what you can and can't talk about, share, discuss, photograph, like anything like that.
If it can help, if it can help be made into a missile or a rocket or a bomb.
Tell us everything. The people that watch this podcast, this is the perk. You get the secrets.
No.
Yep.
If anyone from my job is watching this, there are no secrets that I am sharing.
Yeah. He has to be more careful than I do. But I have secret clearance.
So the general term for any powder printing is PBF, stands for powder bed fusion. What's funny is when I interviewed for the job, I did not know that. I knew all of the sub-acronyms. Like, I knew, like, SLS, for example, which is something I think a lot of people in the printing space have heard SLS, at least, because it's kind of like the entry level to powder bed fusion. It's what most people know. What I did not know is SLS cannot do almost any metals. Like, some SLS printers can do one or two types of metal, but for the most part, SLS is actually, it was developed specifically for nylon, which I had no idea. It works similar, but not the same for a lot of others. So, like, for example, SLS. Emily, do you have something to say? Are you?
No, I'm good. Keep going.
So like SLS printers that do like nylon don't need support material because the powder is the support. But when you're printing metal, because of how dense the parts are, it just doesn't work that way. So you still need support structures and stuff like that. So like you can see my little benchy even, which doesn't need supports on FDM, needs supports on PBF. But yeah, there's tons of subsystems for PBF and stuff. But yeah, when it came to getting the job, I did not know that the acronym was PBF. And so I went in knowing basically just SLS, and I thought I was interviewing for a different position at the job that had to do with like a different type of metal printer entirely. And I had done research on that. It's like a proprietary printing that the company has. Because the two roles were called 3D printing technician and like additive manufacturing technician. Those are literally interchangeable terms, and so I thought it was the same job all the way up to the interview until my interviewer, my manager now, asked like, "Oh, well, what's your experience with like PBF printing? Like, what stuff have you done with that?" And I literally had never heard PBF actually used before, and so while I was literally on the phone with him for this interview, I had to give some like fluff answer while I like panic Googled what PBF meant to then like transition back into giving like an actual answer about it.
That's amazing.
But it worked out. It worked out.
Does he know?
No.
He knows now?
I don't think any of them know. Some of my like coworkers, some of the other technicians know. But yeah, so I managed to just barely get through with that. It worked out. But yeah, so I 3D print rockets now, which is a really wild thing to say. It's one of those things where, because it's for work, I'm like almost jaded to it already. I've been at this job now for, I think like 4.5 months. And so it's like, I've just gotten used to a lot of that. Like the wow factor's kind of gone, but like, if I had told myself, like, 6 months ago,
yep.
I'd be like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, and so, like, this little metal print I have is of the company's first rocket, which we'll see, but it's actually supposed to launch next week. It's the world's first fully printed rocket, like, including the fuselage.
It's the worst first printed. You said the worst.
The world's first.
Oh, no.
But yeah, it's I think 94% by mass 3D printed.
Wow.
The whole fuselage, the nose cone, all of the engines, the fuel tanks, literally everything except for basically like fixtures in like tubings are all printed in this thing. So
I remember seeing it was in a Smarter Everyday video where he was at one of the rocket manufacturing plants somewhere in I think Ohio. It was a 3D printing welder basically, and they were using that for the nose cone where it was going around and around and building up the nose cone.
that would have been us. That would have not been in Ohio. That would be Relativity. As far as I know, we're the only company that has that technology. Like it was a robotic arm that was doing it.
Yeah. I might have to pull up that video.
Yeah, Veritasium.
'Cause he was at this.
Veritasium did a video, I think 2 years ago as well, and it got like 30 million views or something. So a lot of people have heard of the company or seen stuff from them, but they don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I saw a video of people doing something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, that was us.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, so we'll see how the launch goes. By the time the next episode's out, I can probably be like, well, that was amazing, or crap, that didn't.
You need
go
to.
well.
Well, when's the launch?
Right now, it's scheduled for either next week or the week after. We have a Static Fire that was supposed to be soon, but yeah, the launch is supposed to be in the coming weeks.
You should try to get a video of it and put it in the next spot. Like we'll mention it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool for a follow up.
That'll be cool. Yeah, cool intro. That would be a cool YouTube video. I 3D printed the world's first rocket. the world's first 3D printed
Why not?
rocket.
I mean, yeah.
I can barely say I actually got to work on this one, which is sad. It was literally they had some components break during testing, and I got to work on the reprints for those. So it's literally like, you know, there's like 8 brackets or something on this thing that I got to work on, but I can still say I got to touch it. I still got to work on
That's
it.
like what you say like in the opening of the video.
It takes a team.
I made these brackets for this.
Well, I mean, think about like what Mark Rober did on that,
I was about
that
to
Mars
say.
lander. You know, like it takes a team. Like nobody's work is, you know, some people might have more of a hand in it. Obviously, you didn't design and print the whole thing yourself, but like you helped build a 3D printed rocket. Like there's no one can take that away from you.
Yeah.
Like that's you did it.
But yeah, that's
You
what
done it?
I do for work these days. I don't know who would like to go next. I don't want to talk just about myself the entire podcast.
Well, we're gonna make you.
Oh dear. No, Mr. Belt, your turn. It's a good transition. You're also aerospace.
Got him.
That's fair. So I sell feet pics online. No, so I grew up as a car mechanic, model maker, nerd boy, thingamajiggy. I think like a lot of, you know, kids like, ooh, cars are fancy, and I honestly thought I would like die in an auto mechanic shop. Like that's gonna be it. I'm gonna work on cars for the rest of my damn life, and that. I remember working at a shop, I won't say the name of it, but it was paid very good under the table. Honestly, I was making more money there than my first couple years in the military, but it wasn't sustainable. There was some sketchy bookkeeping going on. It wouldn't have affected me. I wouldn't have gone to jail for it, you know, like, that's not, but I always had this, like, thing in the back of my head, like, this place can get closed down at any time, and I am out of a job. That's not great. Had just gotten married and was like, I need like a career. College didn't work out. I didn't even go to college. I went to 13th grade. It was community college. It's Danny. I think you get it, right? Or like, you know, it's all the same kids you went to high school with, and you're in a community college in your same town. You're like, it's all of you same idiots. Like, and what was the icing on the cake is I went to Ocean County Community College, but they had a satellite campus at my high school. So I was still on the campus.
Oh no.
You literally just got to be at high school forever.
I was just, it was a different building, but I'm like, I'm still in Southern's campus. Like, I'm in 13th grade. Oh, look, it's you.
Oh, look, it's
some of the
you.
same teachers. Like, oh, I was like, that didn't work out. I did not do good in school. Stay in school, kids. Yeah, ADHD, man. I was great at the classes I cared about. Really, you know, certain crafting and building and all of that. Physics, I was amazing at that. Geometry, it's shapes, you figure it out. But yeah, didn't do too hot. I remember taking my SATs, and my guidance counselor pulled me into his office and screamed. He was a really nice guy, but he like lost his crap on me. He's like, "You have had these grades for 4 years. You had to repeat math and do this, and you went and got almost a 1900 on your damn SATs." He's like, "What have you been doing your whole?" I'm like,
Car.
not drugs. Like I don't have an excuse for you. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I know the East Coast is like SATs. I think the West Coast has like something else that's scored differently. Or
well, we also have the ACT here, which is
ACTs. That was it.
Yeah,
it's scored differently.
That
I
one's
think.
it's a little more like, yeah, the system works differently. It's a little more STEM based.
Yep.
I don't remember if there's even a literature or English section on it.
Probably not.
But yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna die there, and my buddy had enlisted in the Air Force, and got stationed in McGuire. He was a load master, so he helped load cargo plane. He worked cargo. He wasn't a load master. He didn't have a degree, but he was still in New Jersey. He was still in Manahawkin. We would all still hang out. He had a nice house, kind of near the base. They paid for everything, and he got me in with a recruiter, and I kind of thought, like, yeah, I'll probably end up somewhere around here, like I'll get a job that's somewhere here-ish. I went in, the first thing that should have put me up to it was, I went in for nuclear weaponry. You take your ASVABs and they give you a score. If you score 50 or higher, you're eligible for like the basic jobs in the Air Force. And the higher you go, the bigger your list gets. If you get into the 90s, you get a good options for everything. And my recruiter was like, "Hey, oh yeah, I'm gonna preface this. Your recruiter, you know how you know your recruiter is lying? Because his mouth is moving. Do not trust a damn thing they ever say to you. They are all liars. If he is breathing and has a pulse, it's lies." So, because they get certain bonuses based off of how many people they recruit for different career fields, when he saw I scored a 91 and now I was eligible for these higher class jobs that required top secret clearance and all this stuff, he pushed me for those because it looked, oh look, I got 3 people this quarter recruited into nuclear weaponry or whatever the heck. So he really was pushing that because just other people weren't scoring as high. So I should have done more research on that. He's like, yeah, you want to travel a little bit. You're going to get stationed at a really cool base. That's fine. When you get a job like that, you get stationed at like 2 bases, and they're not good bases. They're cold bases because they need to be cold. They're in the north. You don't travel. You work in a bunker. Not a good life. It's dodge that bullet. Because while I was in basic training, turns out I had too much trouble with the cops growing up. So in order to get top secret clearance, coming into the military fresh from recruiting and all of that, they don't know you. All they have is your background. They have to do a background check, and that's all. They don't know if you've changed. They have no one to vouch for you. What vouches for you is what's on paper. So it was like week 5 or week 6 in basic training, and they bring everybody into this big room or whatever, and you start talking to counselors about your job. So like when you're done with boot camp, you go and do your job or whatever. I was the only one in my class, my flight, who got pulled into like a back office room, and because I was the only one going for top secret clearance. And she starts flipping through this book, and she's a really nice lady, and she's flipping through, and she's like, yeah, it's going to be great, you're going to get top secret clearance and all this stuff, and she just stops dead cold on one page, and just is like, ooh, oh, it looks like you actually still have 4 things here on your record. The limit's now 2. Either my recruiter didn't know they had recently changed it, or it didn't matter that they DQ'd me from the job while I was at basic. He still got credit for recruiting me for that job. Oh, interesting. You know what I mean? So it didn't matter.
So he just pushed you through just to bump up his own numbers.
Because basically. He could. From what I later learned about him, he might have gotten kicked out of the military for sexual allegations against minors. So take that. Stay in school, kids. So yeah, she stops cold on this page. Yeah, karma, right? Not that level, but yeah. And I quit my job. I have a wife now. She's like, yeah, unfortunately you're not going to qualify for this job. And I thought I was done. I thought I was about to get kicked out. I started to tear up. I was freaking out sitting in this room, just like, what am I gonna do? I need this job. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And she's just talking because she's kind of in like robot mode a little bit. And she looks up and she's like, no, honey, it's okay. We're just gonna get you a new job. And I'm like, okay. I was panicking so bad. So what they did is they said you could leave right now if you want because this isn't what you came in for. I'm like, that's an option. This isn't that bad, but okay. Or we'll give you another, it's called your dream sheet. They give you, pick 10 jobs you qualify for, and then they see if like there's openings and all of that. So I made a new dream sheet, and I think I put aerospace propulsion jet engine mechanic. And what was nice about getting to pick my jobs there is they were actually honest with me with what they were. I'm like, hey, what is this? They're like, oh, you work on jet engines, not... Yeah, like, so I was like, all right, this one seems cool. I'll try. And I did my second pick, and I got it. Aerospace propulsion, so I get to work on jet engines now. And I'll never forget leaving basic and getting on a bus, driving. I didn't leave Texas, unfortunately. Went to Wichita Falls. Ugh. And Shepherd Air Force Base. And if anybody's there right now who might watch this, God, I'm sorry. Stay away from Buffalo Wild Wings and the strip clubs. And yeah, they're right next to each other. And I remember walking into the schoolhouse, big hangar. There's a couple of airplanes in it, an F-16 and F-15. I think a C-130 or a C-4 in the other one. And I remember walking by the jet engine and just panicking, like, oh my god, what did I get myself into? Like this huge 20, 30 foot thing covered in wires and tube. Like it looked like a rocket ship. You're just like, I'm supposed to learn how to fix this? Like freaking out. But then like later that night I'm like, I bet everybody else is freaking out. And then you learn yeah, everybody else was panicking like, oh, I'm screwed. They're gonna catch on that I'm actually an idiot. And, yeah. So I went through it all, and then I got stationed. Everybody's getting orders. While you're in that training, you get orders to your next base. And everybody's getting orders, like, to overseas. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I ended up getting orders to Okinawa, Japan, on the literally opposite side of the damn planet. So that was a hard conversation to call my wife about, because we were expecting to get stationed somewhere maybe in the East Coast. Like, yeah, family, yeah. Opposite side of the globe. And, oops. Yeah. I didn't tell her for a few days. I was scared. I was afraid. I'm like not of, like I wasn't afraid of her. I'm just like, I know this is going to be like crazy news, and I don't know how to tell her, like
very, very jarring. It's like,
hey, by the
like,
way,
hey,
we're moving all the way over to Japan. Like,
yeah. So like
that job
I'm like, hey,
different job.
You remember how Mike and yeah, by then she knew I had changed jobs, luckily. Oh, and also the other bullet dodged was when you go to Shepherd Air Force Base, that's where a lot of the mechanical fields go for the Air Force. So I was in 361st, which was aerospace propulsion, age, fuels. But then there's another squadron, 363, they're weapons. They learn missiles, ammo, nukes. Like they're the ones, that's where I would have been. And after talking to some of them, because you just meet people, oh my god, they were all miserable. You can't take notes, you can't leave the schoolhouse. Like you can write certain stuff down, but it can't leave the schoolhouse because people could steal it. So you need to do this crazy memorization. The tests are super hard. Like these dudes were just in the training, and they were the most miserable people on this base. And I'm like, Thanks, criminal record. Wow.
Like, criminal record.
Yes. To me, it's like speeding tickets and like civil violations and stuff like that. It wasn't like I didn't rob a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Frank is just butterfly affecting his way all the way back. Just man, if I didn't get in trouble with the law one time, I wouldn't have gotten to meet Kevin Feige. I wouldn't have been making that.
None of it would happen. Oh god. I don't think I can actually say too much on this, but there was one thing on my background check before I enlisted, because when you're going through the recruiter, they do all their checks and stuff, and I get a call from an alleged FBI agent. He's like, I'm Special Agent blah, blah, blah with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I need to conduct an interview with you at a public location. I'm like, what? So I call my recruiter. I'm like, hey, this just happened. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know. And it was an actual FBI agent. I met him at a library. He showed up in a suit with a suitcase, So we sat down at a table. He asked me some very specific questions about something on my record. And I talked to him about it. He's like, okay, that'll do. Closed up. Never heard from him again. It was the weirdest thing.
That's weird.
I did an interview with an FBI agent a couple of years ago as well, actually, because a friend of mine was in the process of joining an ABC organization. And it was literally the most uncomfortable experience. We met, like, outside of Starbucks, just like, just a little notepad.
Sipping your frappuccino in the FBI
They
agent.
asked like a hyper-specific question. You're like, I have to work to remember that detail. I don't know how you even know that detail.
So, it's been 10 plus years since then, and I can already say they got. I lied right to his face. Lied the entire time. I was not telling him the truth about what was on the record. He bought it. I got in. The rest is history. Yep. Because I knew if I told him the truth. Why? Too late. They already.
Is
that's
that
it.
not like an
He knew-
illegal thing? I don't understand how that works.
Probably. What are they gonna do? They can't kick me. It doesn't work like that. Believe it or not. Yeah, I lied right to his face. He was old as hell. He's probably dead anyway. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Frank is just literally just a super villain.
Like a week later, frankly built, arrested.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't. It was a statute of limitations thing at the time, and I was like, if I tell you the truth about what happened, I know you're gonna deny my clearance. I'm like, so it's either I lie and try to get away with it, or I tell you the truth and I know I'm not getting in. So I rolled the dice. Here we are. Yeah.
Gosh.
So yeah, it was it was a good time. We ended up in Japan. Go to Japan, people. Oh my God, if you plan one trip in your life, go to Tokyo. It is the best city on this planet. Incredible. The people over there, we don't deserve the Japanese. I will say that right now. They are the nicest people I have ever been around. You'll try to communicate with them, and I tried to learn a little bit of Japanese, but you'll try to communicate, and you won't know a word, or they won't know a word in English, and they'll apologize to you. Like, you're like, no, I'm the idiot here. I'm in your country, and they make you feel so much worse. You're like,
They make you feel worse by trying to make you feel better.
yeah, you're like, I'm the foreigner here. Like, don't apologize to me. You're making me feel horrible. But yeah, did 4 years there, 4 years in England, and working on F-15 jet engines. And it was so cool. It is so cool. You get, like Danny was talking about being desensitized to it. Like, you work on rocket, you work on, build rocket ships, and fighter jets. I can't speak on the 5th gens. I literally can't speak on them. But the legacy fighters, the F-15s and 16s, man, they are hunks of crap. They are old, dated, from the 70s and 80s, pieces of garbage. And I'm allowed to say that because you can find the schematics for all of these planes online. They are held together with duct tape,
War
blood,
Thunder
sweat,
archives.
tears, and yeah, they're bad. It was an experience. It's hard. If anybody is thinking about joining the military, you have to embrace the suck. It's not sunshines and rainbows. You're gonna work long hours, and going to your boss and being like, "Well, we've been here 12 hours." That doesn't work that way. You, for lack of better words, you don't have rights anymore. Like, it's shitty to say, but like, you're not a civilian anymore. You're not bound by the same rules. If you need to stay there and work to do a job, you're gonna do it. It's not I'm gonna complain to HR about it. That's not how it works. You're there to do a job. And that job will get done with or without you, but it gets done quicker with you. So, but everybody's there in the same boat. There are people that make it way more miserable, but that's because somebody made it miserable for them, and it's a really crappy cycle. But best experience of my life. So if I had done better in school, if I could go back and be like, I'm gonna get better grades, so I don't have to do this.
It's a really
best
crappy
experience
cycle.
of my life.
It's a horrible, long hours, crap people, horrible cycle. But best years of my life.
Yeah. Like it will. It's such a, it's weird. It is weird
It's
because
definitely
it's
a bonding
stable.
experience with a lot of people too, I imagine.
Oh, especially overseas, and it's something I wish a lot of the guys who worked for me here in Seymour Johnson, I wish they could experience, because a lot of people, there's no camaraderie here, and there's in the shop. where you hit the weekend, everybody goes home and does their own thing. Overseas, you can't go see family. You can't go home for the holiday. I mean, you can, but you know, it was $3,000 for a ticket just to go home. So like me and my wife we would have like Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas parties for all the single dorm guys. We'd bring them over to the house and like all hang out. We'd go do stuff on the weekends, barbecues and all that. So like you have to bond better, but then everybody's on the same page of, oh, in 2 to 3 years I'm gonna have to say bye to all these people because you move again.
Yeah.
So it's like rent a friend for a few years, but it's for everybody. So it's taxing. It can be a little much. It's definitely not for everybody, but like you can be 18 years old and have a complete steady good paycheck, medical, dental, full healthcare benefits. You'll always have a place to live and you'll always have food to eat. Like, it's not bad. There are other options and better options out there, but like, yeah, but it's definitely not the sunshine and rainbows some recruiters make it out to be. And like, talk to people. My God, if you are having trouble with it, like, talk to your friends and all that stuff. But yeah, and now I'm in the Air Force Reserves. I got out to do YouTube full time, so now I only go in 1 weekend a month. I do the same job, same shop, almost the same people, but I just go in. I'm actually going in this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm since I did 10 years active duty on the same power plant, same aircraft. I'm probably one of the most qualified people in my entire shop who's had the most time on this engine. So now that I'm in the reserves, I'm teaching all of the guys how to work on the platform and all of that.
You get to just go in once a month and yell at all the people for doing things the wrong way.
That's exactly what I do. That's literally exactly what. It's amazing. It's amazing. No, they're all nice guys, but like it's hard to go in and like, friggin' John Doe over here, he works at Best Buy, and then 1 weekend a month I need to get him to care about a $3 million jet engine. It's kind of hard, so it's definitely a different side of things. Some of the dudes are really interested in it and they want to learn, but most of them are there for school. They're there for school or benefits, so like they don't really care. Where coming from 10 years active duty, I do care. I care about the job. I care about, so it's different. No one means ill, but it's just it's a different world. And I'm only still in it for the benefits too. I only stayed in to keep a foot in the door in case this whole YouTube stuff, blows up. If my Call of Duty audio ever gets leaked by someone anonymous named Danny. So like, if it all just goes belly up, well,
exposed.
I still have the benefit. Yeah, it's enlist now. Don't listen to your recruiter. Also the other branches are fun. When I was in Okinawa, I'll finish on that. But when I was in Okinawa, we were stationed with everybody: Army, Marines, Navy. Occasionally, the Coast Guard would show up. We don't count them, but it's such a different getting to be around all of them, and it was The people make it great, and they also make it the worst. So it's, I don't regret it. I don't regret doing it. If I was in the same position, how to make the same choice, I'd make it again. And it got me here. It got me. And put me in England, which put me at MCM London Comic Con, which maybe started all of this. Who knows? And now I know you guys, so it worked out.
Yeah. Now we can all be idiots together on the internet.
Huzzah!
All right, who is the next victim to talk about their life? Kiera, you've done some cool stuff for work. Yes, you've done some cool stuff at school recently.
I can't follow that up. I'm the most unemployed person here. I can't follow that up.
Well,
You have
doesn't
school.
have to straight
I'm
up
the
just
oldest
be
one here.
jobs. Like, you can do cool stuff
Yeah.
with projects. The only reason I
No,
talk
if
about
anyone's the
jobs
most
is,
unemployed, it's probably me, because Frank at least still has the military.
I was
thing.
gonna say, yeah. Emily went.
That's fair.
Emily
That's
literally
fair.
went. Okay, I'm graduating. To okay, I'm content creator on the
yeah,
same day.
like I'm sitting here
within
thinking
an
about what
hour.
I'm gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I don't know what I'm gonna say. I mean, I could start it out just like Frank did with like school and stuff. Like, I don't know. When I was really little, hold on. I can never talk when I have like both earbuds in, because it's like, you know how it like plugs your ears and then you try to talk and it sounds like you're underwater.
Sure.
It's
yeah,
forget
Sure,
it. Okay.
I say as I wear my headphones.
I had to, yeah, I've got earbuds in, but Yeah, so when I was younger, I was really into drawing, and like even when I was like 2 or 3 years old, like I was drawing things, and I still have some of the pictures like up in my bathroom. It's just scribble art, like just lines and like circles and shapes. And there's actually one in my bathroom that I always say looks like John Lennon that I drew when I was 3. I'll show you guys sometime, but maybe you can put it in the podcast for context. But anyway, so I've been drawing for like most of my life, and I always thought that was a career path I was gonna take, like illustration or like some kind of design of some sort. And so I did that for, I don't know, pretty much every year of school. Like I was taking some sort of art class until I hit like middle school, which is when they started offering, what is it called? It's like just STEM. They called it something weird in my middle school, but it was like STEM classes, like 3D modeling. We were learning how to use like Autodesk Inventor, basics of like circuitry and like all that stuff, like learning how to use robots. I think we had
in middle school.
Yeah, and like
That's
I saw
dope.
we
What?
had.
I didn't even get to
we
do
had
any of
this-
this type of stuff till college.
They had this big.
That's awesome.
They had this big room. Basically, there was like a hallway, and then this room in the center. They called it the fishbowl, and so there was a hallway that went around it, and it was like this big room with like this really high ceiling, and they had like planets and stuff like dangling from the ceiling, and they had 3D printers in there. They had like a CNC metal.
When you were in
machine.
middle school, they had 3D printers. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah,
They only had, like,
that's
they had a
dope.
couple.
What the heck?
But that was like my first
feel
introduction
so-
to like 3D printing.
I feel so poor.
My high
Where did I grow
school,
up?
my high school just now got 3D printers.
My
Like,
my robotics team.
We were ahead of the game.
My
for some
robotics
reason.
team,
Yeah,
while I was
what
there,
the heck?
won a 3D printer, and that was the first printer that high school had, and no one knew how to use it, so it sat there for 3 years, broken with with literally just a nozzle clog. That was it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we,
Alright, yeah, keep going.
I don't know why we were so like. I don't know. I don't know what was up with that. Now that I think about it, it's kind of bizarre. But like, anyway, actually, that was high school. Middle school, they did have a 3D printer, but I'm thinking of high school. Anyway, go back to middle school.
Still.
We we had like just STEM classes and art classes, and they were in the same hallway. And so I was taking a wood shop class. I was taking an engineering class, an art class at the same time, and so I was starting to like get into the whole like building things and learning how circuitry worked, and then I started getting into Iron Man. I think I watched Iron Man 1 around that time for the first time, and that's like when I really latched onto the idea of engineering, and I started taking these STEM classes more seriously. And I went through this phase of my life where I was bringing like random things home. Like I had calculators that I was taking apart to like learn how things worked, and like playing with the internals and stuff like that. And I think I left 8th grade on like this warpath of like, I'm gonna go to MIT, I'm gonna get like perfect grades, I'm gonna be so smart, I'm gonna go to engineering school. I started taking I took that farther with like high school, you know, how I already talked about like the 3D printers and stuff like that. And it was an interesting period for me because I was stupid. For lack of a better term. Like, I remember this one specific class I took. I think I was a junior because I was supposed to take another engineering class, and not enough people signed up for it, so I didn't get to go work in that class, and so they put me in a more advanced class that only the seniors were taking. So I was like the only junior, and I was also the only girl, which was terrifying. And the dynamic was awful as well because I was the groups of guys in that class were not nice. I distinctly remember hearing them like behind me talking about how I belong in the kitchen and how I'm stupid, and like I was okay in their defense. I was an
Only
idiot.
Emily can
What?
make that joke.
No.
Okay, no, you don't get to say.
No.
We literally
There's
joke
no-
about that. People don't get to say that seriously. The kitchen thing is a joke.
They were mean.
We don't.
They were mean, but
don't get to say that
Well,
seriously.
okay.
There's only two misogynistic guys who can ask you to make a sandwich, and they're in this chat right now. Come on.
But yeah, it was an interesting experience. It didn't necessarily scare me away from it, but it kind of killed the class for me. Like I wanted to enjoy the class, and yeah.
That's fair.
So, I graduated high school. I still wanted to do engineering, so I went to NIU, Northern Illinois, and they have a pretty decent engineering school. So I started out there, and I was majoring in, what was it? It was like mechanical engineering, but it was also mixed with. It was mechatronics.
Mechatronics. That's what I wanted to go in for, but I didn't get accepted to any programs.
That sounds so cool.
It was cool. I was only there for a year because in that major specifically, we started out basically what you had to do going into the school was like take a test to like prove what you know, and that would place you in like certain math classes and science classes and stuff. It was mainly geared towards that because
they didn't do that based just like on the curriculum you took in high school. You had to do like a separate test. What the heck?
I had to take a separate like entry test. Yeah, it was stressful. And so I can't remember where I placed, but I know it was about like standard level, maybe even lower. I think I had to take pre-calc again. Calc really messed me up. It was probably my time at NIU was easily like 1 to 2-ish like hardest years of my life ever because I'm good at like algebra and like general math, but once you start going into calculus, like it just fries my brain.
You don't
and
like
so
integrals? The derivative?
Engineering is just all calculus.
I never took calculus ever.
It's terrifying.
Dude, God.
It makes you second guess everything you know about math.
I finished calculus and then left engineering. I took all of the math and then never used it.
I see. That's what I was hoping I could do. Like I was hoping I could just kind of like skirt by and like get through it, and I couldn't. Like I made it through Calc 1. I barely passed with like a B. I think a B minus. I think I got exactly an 80. And he said like in order to get us
passing at that school.
I think he wanted us to get.
I was like barely passing with a B is like that's not a sentence I hear engineering students say often. That's like most engineers I know are like skidding by with like a 2.8 GPA or something.
He said like there was the guy that taught us. He was really cool. But he said like if you get anything lower than an 80, you should probably not take Calc 2. Like it's probably going to be too hard for you. And so that's why I think that's what I mean by like barely passing. It was like I literally got a B exactly. And then I took Calc 2, and I've told this story so many times it's kind of funny now, but at the time it was like devastating because I took Calc 2. The class, like the teacher himself, he had that kind of mentality where it was like, if you can't handle this, you should drop out of the class, kind of thing. And so did my chemistry teacher, I believe the same semester actually. He was like, if you can't handle it, drop the class. Like, you're probably, he said 80% of you are going to fail. That's what we went into. And so it was just kind of awful, for lack of a better term. I went into Calc 2. I tried my hardest, I'll say that. I pulled an all-nighter for the first unit test. I went in, I started taking the test, and I literally wanted to cry. Like, I didn't know how to do any of it. I think I left half of it blank. I got a 17% for my first test. I left the class, and I literally went to the parking garage where I was parked and just cried. And, like, I called my mom, I emailed my advisors, I was like, I'm changing my major, I can't do this. And, it was kind of devastating because it was like I wanted to go into engineering since I was like an 8th grader, and it was like I don't know, I didn't really know what to do with my life. It was kind of an awful moment, and I switched to computer science. Even worse. So if you're switching from engineering, if you're bad at math,
go to
and
industrial
science
design.
And you like engineering, do not go to computer science. It is not going to be easier for you. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, this doesn't involve like calculus and physics, so I should
It says
be okay.
computer. It has computer in the name.
I know. I know that now, but I took a generic like intro basic programming class when I was an engineering major, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like this is something I'm good at. Like maybe I can go into computer science instead. No.
No.
I would have
I-
died as
you-
a
you
comp
pl-
sci major.
You played yourself.
I don't think I've ever cried more in my life. Every week we would have like a coding assignment to do, and you had to like write this code and submit it. And if you didn't have your code like exactly correct, you'd basically fail the assignment every time. I was just failing after failing after failing. It was like awful. I had nights where I was up until like 3-4 a.m. just trying to get this code to work, and just like crying because it was due the next day, and like I couldn't figure it out, and like I knew I was gonna get like a 50%. And yeah, so my time at NIU was not the best. Shortly after that, I was like, like I think I just need to embrace what I'm good at, which was really hard because you go through. I mean, it's not like that now, but when I was younger, it was like if you go into like an art major, you're going to be a starving artist. Like that's what people told you, and I was like, I don't want to, set myself up for that, and like have people think that I'm some starving artist, like art major. But at this point, I was like, I think I just need to embrace it and like go with it because maybe I can make something out of it. And so I switched to the art college at NIU for like a semester, I think. I took like a drawing class. I took a video media class, and it was okay, but it was very, very like community college level stuff. Like it wasn't anything I'd want to like. It wasn't worth it. It was very base level, and it was more of a fine arts school. So I was like, this isn't what I want at all. I wanted to work. Like ever since I was in the School of Engineering at NIU, I was thinking about getting jobs in film and like building stuff, and I was like, this is wrong. Like I feel like I'm in the wrong spot. And Nick, not Walsh, different Nick, he went to Columbia, and Columbia is in Chicago, and they do like it's literally a film school. Like they have a whole department dedicated to film and television. And I was watching him like literally build sets and make props for student films and do all this crazy stuff, and I was sitting here like making this little like documentary film on Nintendo from like clips on the internet for this stupid class I didn't care about. And I was like, I need to switch schools. And so I switched schools. I transferred, and at first I was just a BA in film and television at Columbia. And that was not the reason I went there. I wanted to get the BFA because the BFA was more specialized. Basically, I think there's like 6 or 7 concentrations for the film and television BA or BFA, and one of them was production design, which is basically art department everything, costumes, props, makeup, special effects, set design, all the fun color palette choices you can. You're designing framing, or you're helping with framing at least, storyboards, all that stuff. That's you. You're in charge of that, and so that was what I really wanted to focus on. I had to convince the school to transfer me to that because they don't really like transfer students. They want you to come in from like the beginning and then apply for that. And so when I applied, I got into the BA, but not the BFA because the window had closed. So it was this whole process of like transferring me over. But like right from the get-go, it was like it's a fun environment to be in. Like not only are you in the city, which is like, the city is kind of questionable sometimes, but you're in the city, you're in like a new environment.
I'm a woman
instead
in
of like
Chicago,
a college.
and I'm scared.
Yeah. I'm a woman in Chicago. I'm scared. Anyway,
Scared.
Yeah, the commute isn't great, but right off the bat it was fun because I think my first semester first semester was kind of boring because it's like the generic classes, but I was taking like a storytelling class. I was taking I think it was production design 1, which was really cool because you start learning the basics of like what a production designer does, lookbooks, color palette, resourcing stuff for like props and costumes and learning how to like present stuff like this to like a director or like a team of people who want to make this thing like, you know, a real film. Like you're the one who's in charge of the visuals basically. So you get to pick how this thing looks, and it's really, really fun. You learn a lot about like different positions of people in the art department in film and like what everybody does. And yeah, so I was taking a lot of fun classes, and at this point I actually just applied for graduation last night. Fall of 2023. Woo! After this semester, I have 2 more classes left. But at this point right now, last semester I got through PD2, Production Design 2, which essentially what you do is you are the production designer for an actual film. And so like the first week of class, you go in and you hear the director's pitches for their stories. And then you have to sell yourself to those directors to hire you onto their film. And then they find a whole team of people. So you like line producers, assistant directors, camera, all that stuff. And then those people find their own sub departments and you know, crew. And so I was in charge of finding props, costumes, makeup, set decorator, you know, little sub people underneath me, and I was in charge of like the whole art department. And so you work with these people, like you work with your team, and then you work with directing and producing and camera and all these people, and you make a film the entire semester. And I honestly don't think I've ever learned more from anything in general. Like it's such an interesting process to go through, because I've always been an introvert, like hardcore. I used to be in middle school, I used to be the kind of kid, I used to be the kid who like would turn red if somebody talked to me. Like I couldn't handle anything. So I've grown over my years in school, but I think this was the most beneficial semester overall, like in my entire life, because you're forced to like work with people who have different visions and have different opinions and like different jobs and different viewpoints than you, and it's really hard because you're trying to manage a group of people while also collaborating with a different group of people, and it teaches you a lot. Let's just say that. It was really stressful, but like I don't know, it was super beneficial to me. And this semester I'm taking it's a studio class. It's called BFA Studio. It's the precursor to BFA Thesis, which is my last semester. It's like what I just did last semester times 10. Like it's an actual student film, but we spend 2 semesters working and developing it. So right now we're working on some kind of like practical exercise where we build a set, and then the cinematographers come in and shoot some stuff. And I'm also taking like a special effects class, which is like right in my wheelhouse. We actually just yesterday morning we did a class on soldering and motors, and I literally walked in and like I know this. I told the teacher that I wanted to work on my Iron Man suit for the class, and he had me show him videos and stuff, and I got super excited. But yeah, I'm taking I had to tell him. Yeah, but I'm doing like stuff like that class. I'm taking my models and minis class again, which basically you construct a miniature, like a diorama, yeah. And then you collab with the cinematographers, and they shoot it for you in like the sound stage. And so I'm doing that again because it was fun, and also I needed the elective credit. So I'm taking that, and then yeah, I'll be graduated hopefully soonish. But in general, I think it's good portfolio work. It's good experience for like the industry. I think what it's taught me is like I care less about being a production designer, and I just want to make cool shit. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I don't really care about color palette. Just give me something to make, and I'll make it. I don't like being in charge, but it does teach you a lot to like learn each different role in like a film setting. And the other thing too is like it gives you like a lot of extracurricular, if you want to call it that, like opportunities, because you know everybody there is working on projects of their own. They need people on their set. And so I'm like constantly volunteering and like helping out with other people's projects, which is cool experience. you meet people, you learn new skills, you get experience on set. So yeah, and then I haven't really had a job. I've been pretty much unemployed because between the commute, I live about an hour without traffic outside of the city, but when there's traffic, it takes hour 30, maybe 2. Yesterday morning was a 2-hour drive for me into school, so I haven't really had time to like have a full-time job.
Living off commissions to get through college, baby. Let's go.
commissions and social media money, basically. But and then like
Feed
every
pics.
once in a blue moon,
Yeah.
like I have somebody like reach out and give me like an NDA deal where it's like a small model or something. But I haven't really had like a steady job that's making me money, so I've just kind of been doing my own thing. But at least I'm learning something cool at school. I guess that's the takeaway. But yeah,
Stay in school, kids.
yeah.
It's fun getting to like hear how excited you are for the program as well as like how close you are to getting out. Because I literally remember like a year ago when you came out for your birthday, just like all the stuff that was going on with your school situation then and stuff, and you were like, I'm gonna be in school forever. Like, oh my god,
Well,
this is
That's the thing too. My school, I've made posts about this, but they're cutting a lot of like my specific department's classes, which is really, really like detrimental to future students. Like they were talking about cutting PD2, which is what I took last semester, and like I said, like I've learned the most from that class out of anything else, and they're gonna cut that for no reason. I don't know why. They didn't give any reason for that, and they're cutting like other classes that I've taken in the past that were super helpful. And then they were talking about like adding on like extra requirements to thesis, which would mean I have another semester on top of the semester I have next semester. So
Ugh.
like, why? So I was kind of like freaking out because I'm like, I'm never gonna be done with school. Like this is my 5th year. Like I just want to be out. But yeah,
5
I don't
years
know.
of school, gang. Let's go.
Kiara, in the group chat, I sent a really cool podcast. I think you should listen to. It's about film school,
Okay.
from the Corridor Digital guys.
If you don't
About-
listen
like-
to the Corridor cast as well, you should.
Oh, yeah, you
it
should.
is the
If
literal
you-
only podcast other than this one that I care about.
It's amazing. Because they do all their own video production and stuff, and some of them went to film school, some of them didn't. So they have such a interesting perspective on the whole field. Exactly what you're talking about. Just going to school. What like in that podcast? I mean, one talks about he started paying for school, and they sell you and rope you in like, wow, look at all these sets they have. Like you get they have whole warehouses dedicated to this and that, but only like specific 4-year programs in their last year even get access to. Like it's very. If anybody's interested in film school, I also suggest listening to it because they give both perspectives on it and the whole industry. Their insight to the entire film industry is incredible.
Another thing I wanted to mention, because Danny, I think you mentioned the rocket and how you said like you only got to make like a very small portion of it, if at all. And film school kind of feels like that because being somebody who like does like cosplay and building stuff, like it's pretty much all you. Like you do everything. You're the one. Sometimes you can be the one who's modeling it, but you're printing, you're assembling, you're painting, you're doing all that stuff. With film, it's like really interesting because everything's broken up into like small pieces. Like you have
Yeah.
a small job on set, and like when it comes to the final thing being done, you're kind of like, oh, like I did this job, and it feels like you didn't really do that much sometimes. Like because coming from a standpoint where I'm doing like all my work, like on my Iron Man suit, for example,
you're doing the
I can say
modeling, the
I did that.
electronics, the filming,
Yeah.
the editing,
Yeah.
the lighting, like literally everything out of content
Yeah.
that any of us put out. That's like basically all us. Yeah.
Yep.
So film is an interesting animal because it's like you put a lot of like blood, sweat, and tears into it, and then when it's done, you're like, oh, I did this one small part. But it's like at the same time, it's really important that you did that one small part because everybody has their own job to make this like a big moving piece, like thing. And I don't know, it's like an interesting perspective to have like these two like different worlds that I'm a part of. Yeah.
It's the reliability of it all too, because it's a team, and from what I've seen and gathered and talking to people and learning more about it, like, you're never really rewarded for going above and beyond, because you're expected to do a job, do the job. What you will be punished for is not doing it, and your credibility is everything. Oh, you're in charge of costumes. You're the director, AD, production. They need to trust that I'm going to give this spot to you, and I'm not going to worry about it anymore, because now it's your problem. And if you can't fulfill that, you're worthless. Like that, there's no point of you being there. They'll find somebody new. You know, so it's trusting everybody to do their job and do it right.
That's the hard part about doing this in school too, because for example, like last semester when I was recruiting people for art department stuff, like I was looking for costume people and just
recruiting.
But it's like, it's hard because when you're in school, there's no incentive for people to volunteer and then like pull their weight. Like, they're volunteering. There's no stakes for them. It stakes for me, but nobody else, unless they're getting paid. And so like finding people who are willing to help and like do their job was really hard. And like I did find myself like in that situation where I had to like breathe down people's necks and be like, you got to do this, like otherwise I'm going to die. Because I was over here, I was doing the costume
That's
work.
the silver lining for you. You're like, I can talk to people now, but I can't threaten them. I need to explain that I'm gonna die if they don't do the job.
Well, because I'm an anxious person. Again, nothing we didn't know. but it was like, I had to really like be on people's like. I had to constantly bug people to do their job, and it was like, that's not me. Like, I don't like being in a managerial position. So it was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. But yeah, that's the difference between like industry jobs versus volunteer work at a student film scenario. Like the incentive is different. Also, completely unrelated, kind of, not really. I made business cards. Look at my business cards. They're fancy.
Fancy
I don't have a job, but I
schmancy.
have business cards.
We can't see it. So you've been. I didn't want to say anything while you were. Has she been clipping and freezing for everybody else?
Yes, the only
Yeah,
reason I haven't.
No!
Not like the whole time.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's only sometimes, and your audio is recorded on your device, so it all comes through
Yeah, so
anyway
it doesn't matter.
in the podcast. Which
Doesn't
is why
matter.
I have
Yep,
not said
Is it really bad?
No, it's just
No, it was just a kid.
yeah. Every now and then, for a few seconds, it kind of gets choppy. Like
Can you see it now?
we can see the business.
Oh no,
Yes.
we can
fine,
see. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'll be
Yep.
slow and then I'll hold it.
Those are so
if it
nice.
clips,
They're really nice.
it's fancy. Yeah. That's me.
I can't wait to find out what Emily studied in school. I don't think anyone would have any idea what type of degree she got.
I don't know. Yeah, dude.
There's a degree in
I don't know.
engineering.
It's hard to talk about like stuff that's not this, because for me, since school, it has been all this.
Yeah, like literally
Well,
graduation
yeah, 'cause
is when this all started, basically.
Because it was
for
my
you.
hobby, and then it turned into my job, but now it's also my hobby and my job. And so there's like, it's hard because there's like not a ton outside of it right now. But like, I don't know. I went to, before everything, I went to a school from pre-K to 12th grade with all the same people for 14 years of my life. So that was an experience. It was a private Christian school, and so I mean everyone was just.
I did a private K through 8, and I can't imagine going through high school with the same
Through
people.
high
I went
school.
all the way up to, like up to high
Yeah.
school. It was like, okay, but I could not imagine still being with them through high school.
Nah, I mean I like really only I talked to like 2 of my best friends went there. I mean like that's about all that I keep in touch with though. But yeah, I went to school there, and I mean it was a pretty rigorous school. I'd say my senior year of high school was definitely more difficult than my freshman year of college. Freshman year of college,
That's a vibe.
like
Frank, you wouldn't understand. It's okay.
You're damn right I would. That sounds terrible.
well, it was a lot. I was like what was I? How old was I? Like I was 17 years old, like waking up at 4:30 in the morning to finish studying for my 2 AP exams the next day. Like it was just, it was a lot.
That was dedication.
It was a lot. And so, but finally got through it. It was good. It was just very, very difficult. I took, I think, 4 APs my senior year. Calc, Chem, something else. I don't know. I took a good bit. But unlike Kiera, I did not have the idea that I wanted to be an engineer in my head, like, all the way back then. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know. What sounds like a good job that, like, would make decent money? And that's all I was thinking of. I was like, oh, I don't know, an orthodontist or something. Like, that was me in middle school. I was like, I'm gonna go be an orthodontist. Like, what the heck? So, growing up through high school.
Orthodontist.
Emily the dentist.
Yeah.
Emily the proctologist.
It's like I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, and then through high school I had a teacher who like really pushed me to do a lot of like projects and stuff. They had a little science olympiad projects and things like that, and he put me in like 3 different building projects, and like everyone else only got one. He's like, do it. And so he between him and like my dad also like building stuff with me, I was like, okay, maybe I will do it, I guess. But I ended up by senior year knowing that I wanted to be an ME. So then I applied to college, and like a dummy, because I don't recommend anyone else do this ever. It was stupid. Don't do it. I only applied to Clemson. And thank God I got into Clemson, because I started to apply to like backups and stuff, but I was like, I don't want to go here. I wouldn't want to go here. Like, every time I try to apply to a backup, I was like, I don't want to go here anyway.
The only reason I ended up at Long Beach is because my mom was like, you have to click 3 more schools on this application you're sending out.
And that's
I don't
the
care
smart
what it is.
thing.
Here's a list of a few good ones. Pick them at random. And I literally picked Long Beach at random.
That's literally the big brain thing to do, and I was stupid. And like, I was pretty confident I would get in because I had pretty good grades, but like, and the school was a rigorous school, but like, no one else do that. That was dumb. Don't do that. Anyway, thankfully I got in. And then, yeah, freshman year was pretty chill. I mean, life was obviously very different, though, because, like, you know, I spent 14 years of my life with a certain group of individuals, and now it's, like, new people. But it was good. It was really good. I needed, like...
Doing keg stands and stuff. Emily was...
Oh, yeah. You know,
yeah.
me. No, I was, like...
Emily was chugging whiskey.
I was probably obnoxious freshman year, honestly. I still, like, very, I don't know, like... I was pretty sheltered, I'd say, maybe, but I was probably.
I wouldn't have guessed that going
no,
to a
who would have guessed that, right?
school.
Oh gosh, yeah, but anyway, college was good. Freshman year was pretty chill. Sophomore year, all the MEs had to take. If you go to Clemson, you know, statics and dynamics. It is a 5-credit-hour course that combines both statics and dynamics into one class, and 60% have to retake it at least once. It is known to be the hardest class at Clemson. They've discussed separating it into 2 classes like every other school in the freaking universe does, but they decide, no, we're not going to do that. I passed statics and dynamics, I think, with a C, and I've never cried harder tears of joy to make a C.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because people I knew that studied and put so much more work into it. Like, a lot of it came down to your anyway. Hardest class ever. I got through that. Thank God. I feel like, honestly, college, like, sometimes I just got by. You know what I mean? Like, I just got, like, I learned it, yeah. But then, like, I think about things like senior year, like, controls class. I definitely just got by in controls. I 100%. Like, MATLAB, learning that stuff, Simulink control, I just got by, bro. I don't know.
I only passed MATLAB because of my lab partner.
Oh my gosh. Jonathan's MATLAB project crashed the night before it was due. I remember that. It was before we were dating, and we were all sitting there working on it together, and it crashed. His computer died. It was awful. Anyway, but yeah, college went well, and I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of things that aren't related to this, but like so much of what has happened is related to it.
You're allowed to talk about whatever.
I mean, I know. I'm just trying to think of things that aren't, but I know,
quick,
like,
I do just want to acknowledge, I love that I think all of us can identify like a teacher either in high school or very beginning of college that like really inspired us to kind of follow a lot of this stuff we're interested in. Like, I know, Frank, you had, was it a physics teacher?
It was a science teacher my 8th grade science teacher, who eventually reached out a year or two ago because we just ended up Facebook friends at one point, and asked me to 3D print him stuff for his class. So I was like, yes.
Yeah, for me it was my my physics teacher in high school as well. My AP physics teacher. He was also like the head of robotics.
It was also my 8th grade physics and AP physics teacher.
Bro.
So it was all the physics teachers.
Except for me,
Kiara's
because I
like,
was
yeah, I
bad
really
at
like my
physics.
English teacher.
Yeah.
No, it was my.
Really?
I had a teacher. Her name was Mrs. Vincent, and we called her Vince. And she was my AP art teacher, junior and senior year of high school. Shout out to her. We were supposed to get coffee when I graduated, and it's been like 5 years.
Where's my coffee?
Phones work both ways, Kiara. They work both ways.
I've been emailing her. She like forgets all the time.
No. Okay, well, emails work one way, apparently. You're doing your best.
We've been
I'll never
trying.
forget. It was my 12th grade physics teacher, who, Miss Andrews. She was like second. If I put her and Mr. Soroka right there, and it was her last year. She was retiring, so she didn't give a absolute crap about following the curriculum. She let us just run rampant through the school. Now, granted, my high school was massive. My graduating class was like, I want to say like 800 people.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, mine was like 2,000.
I walked.
Mine was like 50.
I graduated sitting next to people I have never had a conversation with in 4 years of high school. Like, I was like, who the? Okay. And she did this physics Olympics thing where we had to just do these projects, but me and my 3 friends, we were good at physics. I think we all had ADHD, so we were really good at the things we cared about, but you would look at us and you'd be like, you guys shouldn't be in this class. We were not the AP students. We were not like, we were our own little group of like kids, and we would run around the school just being annoying. So when like there was one project where we had to build a roller coaster out of manila folders, and you had to take a marble, and it had to have a ramp, a loop, and then a cone. And it could be a little desktop. You just cut up manila folders, tape them together, marble. We made ours 2 stories tall because she didn't care. She was just like, yeah, go ahead. Like, the cone we made was 9 feet tall, and it went off of the ramp went off of a balcony and into a mezzanine. And it was just like, this is awesome. Like, this is what learning should be. Just like, this is so much fun.
My physics teacher was the exact same way. It was about halfway through the school year, he decided he was going to move to Cambodia after the school year. He was a young teacher, too. He was in his 20s. And so it was very much like, you know, more of a friendly dynamic between like him and the students, because it wasn't such a huge age gap. And yeah, it was literally just the entire senior year. Absolutely. He started our first class of the year by rappelling out of the ceiling. We literally all walked in the class. He wasn't there, and there was it was like a remote controlled like projector screen that was in front of the whiteboard, and it just kind of like went up at one point, and on the whiteboard it just said like press play on the laptop, and we were like, what? Okay, so someone pressed play on his laptop, and it started playing Mission Impossible music. One of the ceiling panels moved out of the way, the lights all went off, and he dropped a rope and climbed out of the damn ceiling.
That's amazing.
It was like the single most insane like first day of school I've ever had.
That's incredible. What an impression. Those
My teacher, Mrs. Vincent, she was just a nice, like, old, I don't want to call her old, but she's not watching us, but she just a sweet old lady.
She can't even
And,
answer her emails.
Yeah, I'll email it to her.
But but yeah, she wasn't going anywhere. She just like let us do whatever. Like it's not that she didn't care, but she was just cool. Like we were always like, we weren't allowed to like eat in the art room, but we would just sit there and we would eat. And my friend Vanessa was always standing on the tables, and like we were always just doing random shit. Like we weren't doing art. It was just like chaos in her classroom, and she allowed it because
This
she liked
is
us.
art.
Yeah.
This is art.
But yeah, her class was the only reason I made it through high school, honestly, because I my senioritis was so bad at one point, I was leaving after her class, 4th period. Like, I would literally just leave.
Oh, God.
So, shout out to Mrs. Vincent. She's the reason I graduated. Otherwise, I probably would have dropped out.
Oh, God.
I did not like high
man.
school.
Emily, did your teacher do anything insane?
Follow that up, engineer.
He got us to shoot. This sounds bad. Like
He got us to
we
shoot.
did a lot of stuff, but I don't know. At one point we like shot something at. He said, "If you can hit me with this thing," I forget what it was. It was something we were shooting at him. But he said, "If you can hit me with this thing, I'll give you 100 on your next or whatever." I don't know. He did stuff like that, which was fun.
Put a bounty on his head.
Basically, yeah. Like
Most wanted.
he also went to Clemson, so we bonded because of that, I think. But
Yes, I know.
yeah, I don't know. He was chill, and then trying to think. College basically for me was just basically like junior year starts making Iron Man suit for funsies. Senior year tries to plan wedding, then COVID happens. That was probably one of the roughest points in my life, I'd say, for multiple reasons.
Fair.
But and then we postponed the wedding. Then things go viral on graduation day. I was like, okay, this is interesting, because we were trying to figure out, like, I had not necessarily begun, like, job searching too much, because Jonathan had already been job searching, and his major is much more specific than mine, so it'd be a lot easier for him to find something and me find something in that general vicinity, because MEs are, like, a little bit more flexible. So I'm waiting for him to find a job. I'm not really looking for a job, and then graduation day, thing go boom, video go boom, a Good Morning America go, "Hello, we'd like to have you on," and
I literally remember just having
Yeah.
like tons of phone calls with you of just like going through all of that.
it was a mess. It was like that time of my life, I think, was like the worst emotional mess, but like also, if that hadn't happened, like, a lot of other things wouldn't have happened. Like, if me and Jonathan had, like, planned the wedding for then, and if Jonathan had accepted other job offers that he got, because, like, he turned down some that, like, were too far away or something, like, stuff would have been different, and things wouldn't have gone the way they went. So, very happy things are going the way they're going, but, yeah, that was probably emotionally one of the most wrecking, I think, the COVID stuff. I think that hit us pretty hard. But then at the same time, because I was able to stay home, like, during class and just, like, sand a piece of Iron Man armor, like, stuff happened. So yeah, I don't know. Since then, we have bought house. I have workshop. We moved on up in the world from sticking my 3D printer in my roommates' rooms when they were gone, just moving it around whenever they would leave, be like,
Now instead you
Oh, yeah.
bolt them to your friends' cars.
yeah, exactly. Like, when they would leave, I'd be like, "Can I print something in your room?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Okay." Put the printer in their room, and it would just move around. It would hover to whoever was gone that week, to a full workshop. Or then from that to putting them in my closet to putting them in a spare half bedroom in the townhouse to workshop. So we've moved
The
on
glow
up.
up.
We're doing good. But yeah, I'd say a lot of what I do now, like, is like, since it is my hobby and it also is job, like, and it became job straight out of college, like, there's not too much else going on. I have cats. I don't know.
I have cats.
I'm a cat mom. It's my job.
Cats.
Cats. Yeah. I don't know. Ta-da!
Yeah.
It's like become what the world has revolved around recently, I guess. Yeah. That, I mean, I'm trying to move away from like certain Iron Man things. Like, I don't want to be known as the Iron Man chick. And so I'm trying to, like, as of now, currently kind of, because I just like building things in general. So just trying to build things in general. Again, I'm not helping my case because I'm building another suit. So, you know, big brain. But I'm trying not to, like, I don't want to, like, post about it a ton.
You're not pushing it as hard with content, yeah.
Right.
It's
so,
a
like,
fun project for you. It's not the centerpiece of, like...
Right. Like,
brand.
I'll post pictures when I'm done and stuff like that. And maybe, like, once it's, like, got a Chrome base code or something. Like, I'll stuff like that. But I'm not trying to push it as hard. But it is hard because short-form content likes the shiny, flashy things, so...
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of... I 100% am not using it in YouTube stuff anymore. I think YouTube, I don't want to wedge myself in the corner of the Iron Man chick. And so for YouTube, I'm 100% moving on. And for short form content and other stuff in general, I am including it, not making it the center of attention, but still including it.
It's part of what you do. It's not the only thing
Right.
you do. Yeah.
Right, so. Also, people won't stop asking me what the next one I'm building is, so I kind of feel like,
Give the people more Iron Man content. It's what they want.
Yeah.
Give the people what
It's
they
okay.
want.
You can just start pushing everyone to Dan when he's done with the rescue or something
Oh,
instead.
oh, me and him are gonna have so much fun with that. You don't know how much fun we're gonna have with that. We're gonna, it's gonna be so good. We're gonna prank so many people on Halloween. Gonna go downtown Clemson and just like
faceplates down.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Someone's gonna hit your
freaking
back.
good.
Nice suit, bro.
Nice suit, bro. Yeah.
The wrong person's gonna think they're funny and like hit Dan's butt in the rescue suit or something.
And he's gonna
turns
turn around and be like,
faceplate up.
"Oh, okay. My eyes are up here." He's gonna.
At least take me out to dinner first.
At least, yes, that's what he used to say. It's, oh gosh, I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. Because I'm gonna have the 47, and he's gonna have rescue, and we are already coming up with some amazing ideas, some amazing.
We should actually probably start thinking ourselves of some content that we can actually like film together that isn't just like us walking around the con at WonderCon.
I really want to get that video in the bathroom where I go up to the urinal with the faceplate noise. I really want to try to get that. But
I've like got like some sounds saved. I was trying to think of some ones for Dan too. I came up with some good ones. I was like, oh man, I came up with some really good ones.
I'm a male. I'm a man.
Yeah.
That one.
That one's so good. That's a good
That would
idea.
be a good one.
I'm not into that mentally ill stuff, whatever he says. Oh, that's so funny. I chose one. Oh gosh, it was like, what happened? My credit card declined or something, and he's like, but Dad, I'm a material girl, and it like cuts to him, and he's gonna be like in the. But
God.
we have some good ideas.
What a guy.
It's been really cool.
We have
now, like him being close by, because like
we have a rescue now.
yeah. No, well, I mean, like, he just comes up with so many goofy ideas, and like he's always so down to like film and record stuff, and he's 25 minutes away, and it's like, let's go. So that's been nice, because like I was pretty lonely when it came to the townhouse, because one, there was nobody here, and two, it was, you know,
cats.
tiny and small and no gatos. And now there are gatos. There is
That was
Garage, and Dan
The Garage one.
is down to film Ooga Booga Brain content.
El Dano.
It's great. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we'll probably wrap up this episode. I actually think this was a really fun one. There's honestly stuff I didn't know about, like, well, I mean, I didn't know about Frank's background with the law.
Yeah, he's like, me with the cops don't have a good history.
So it was kind of fun getting to hear stories from everybody about that kind of stuff. But yeah,
I've lived a life.
If people actually stayed through this episode, because this is probably going to be the longest episode I think that we're going to be releasing, then congrats, gracias, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. I think if not the next one, the one after that, I'm going to see if we can get a guest in, 'cause I think it might be fun to have somebody in to join in the discussions.
Wow.
Right.
Leave a comment down below for guest suggestions you might want to see.
Yes. Precisely. If you would like to cancel Frank, feel free to leave comments doing so as well.
Cancel. Frankly canceled.
Frankly
It
canceled.
it's already trending on Twitter. Yeah.
Someone tweet it real quick. We'll get
Frankly canceled.